Good evening and welcome to True Dogman Encounters. I'm your host, Marvin Allen. If you or anybody that you've known have had a sighting and would like for me to share it on my channel, then please contact me. I would love to hear from you. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. Like, comment, and subscribe. As you all know, we do have a Facebook page. It's called True Encounters with Marvin Allen and the Doug Pack. That's D-U-G Pack. And we do go live. And it's been a couple of weeks since I have really been uploading nothing yet. Just been trying to do a little bit more researching. Getting ready to go where I can get back out in the field and get to some areas that I'm familiar with and check those areas out again where I've gotten a lot of my sightings at. So it will be audio, it will be video, so hopefully we'll get something. But we're going to keep trying until we get what we need to get. We're almost at 1,000 members on our Facebook group. So if you haven't joined it, please go over and join. We're trying to reach 1,000. We're going on 4,000 on our Facebook page. So hopefully we'll get there soon. We're not in a rush. We want to take our time, because we're trying to do a lot of things this year, Hopefully soon, sometime this year, maybe later, we're going to try to work on our merch, because we got some good ideas and some good things in the work, some things that other people don't even have, So we're going to set the bar, we're going to set the standards high. We're going to come out with a lot of things that other podcasts and other hosts don't have. So we'll just keep that in wraps for now. As y'all all know, I've been telling Ty J's encounters and her experiences on what happened when she bonded with these creatures, when she bonded with this cryptid. People always ask me the same question over and over, is how? How? I don't know. She don't even know the question how. But she's not the only one that bonded with these creatures. I have another eyewitness that bonded with a pack of these creatures. And I'm in the works. I'm talking to her to see if I can release her sightings and her encounters without using her name, because anonymity means a lot to me. So hopefully I'm gonna talk to her some more and see if it's okay if I can release her sightings and her encounters, because they are good, and it go to show you that anything is possible. Stop believing that, oh no, that ain't, no. Stop believing in all that stuff. We got to start believing in things that, okay, that really worked. That happened. Stop believing in something can't be done, because we don't know everything that can be done. We're gonna try to do a lot of big things. We're gonna try to get more guests on the show. As far as our Facebook Live, we're gonna try to get more guests on there. As far as the YouTube, I'm gonna start uploading more. Like I said, I'm gonna go back to where it all started at. I'm gonna go back to where it all started at when I first started getting into this Dogman cryptid, into this creature. I'm gonna go back to the roots. I'm gonna go back to where it was told to me by my mother. I'm going to go back where I have met a lot of eyewitnesses and shared their sightings and encounters with me. So this is what we're going to do. Without further ado, let's jump right into this encounter. As y'all all know, I've been telling the encounter about Ty J, and she was wondering if that was going to be the last time that she would see this alpha male, because she didn't know. She just went by the last words of what that creature told her, and it stayed in her head. It stuck in her head. So Ty J said a week had passed with not no, real action or nothing like that. But she would always hear walking outside her window. But nothing. Ty J said on about the 8th day is when things started to pick up again. She say she get up one morning, do what she always do, get herself together, go in there, grandmother fixing her breakfast. They sit down, they eat, they sit and they talk. Ty J tells her grandmother, she said, I don't know how long he gonna be around, because he don't look the same, Grandma. He don't. He just don't look the same. And her grandmother said, Ty J, it's nothing you can do. It's nothing you can do, Ty J. The only thing you can do is, for the time that he do have, is to remember the times that you shared with not just him, but his family, because I didn't believe that could be done, that you could get so close to these creatures, until I seen it for myself and how they took to you. And she said, I love you so much. So her and Ty J, they talked some more. So Ty J said, Grandma, I'm going to just go it out back, and I'm going to just sit for a while and just see if I, if they'll just come around. So Ty J, she looks at her grandmother and she said, I love you. She goes out back and she sits on the back porch. She sits out there and do what she always do. She wants to get that feeling. She sits out there. She don't hear nothing. She said after about a half hour is when she started hearing footsteps walking up in the wood line. But listen, she didn't get this feeling. She didn't get this feeling that she knew one of these creatures was around that she knows. So she hear bipedal footsteps walking up in the tree line. So she look. She don't see nothing, but she can hear it. She knows something there. She still looks up in the tree line. She said that's when the footsteps stop. She said it's dead quiet. She said you couldn't hear nothing. No birds, no bugs, nothing. She said the it just dropped, everything. She said you couldn't hear nothing. So she looks. She looks. She said that's when she see this creature standing by this tree, and it's peeking from around the tree, and it's looking over at her. Ty J says she stands up and she walks to the back door and she stands there. But she watching this thing. She said that's when this creature walked from behind the tree. It walked from behind the tree and then walked over to the little small path. And then it began to walk out. She said this thing was just massive because she can hear every step that hits the ground. Boom, 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 boom. She says it walks out and it stands out on her grandmother's property. And it looks over at Tajay. She said that's when this thing started to growl. She said it wasn't a loud growl, but it was a growl that she could feel. And she looking at this thing, but she close by this back door too. She said then this thing stopped. And it stared over at her. Tajay said this thing just looked at like it was just evil. And to her, she knew all these creatures wasn't bad or evil. But this one was the opposite. She said this one was evil. She said and it kept staring at her. She said that's when this creature began to walk across the yard. And when it did that, Tajay went in the back door, went in, and she locked the door. She looked through the small window that they had on there, and this creature was still walking over. She said this creature stopped at the bottom of the steps and it just looked up. She said that's when it took one leap and leaped up on the top of the porch. Boom! She said this thing was heavy because she could hear it when it hit the porch. Boom! And it walked over to the window. That's when Tajay, pulled that little curtain that they had right over there. And she slid back down the back door. And she sat there. She said she could hear this thing breathing on the outside of the door. That's how loud the lung capacity was on this creature. She said that's when this thing started to turn the doorknob. Tajay said she was so scared that she didn't scream. She didn't make no noise. She said that's when her grandmother comes out her room and begins to make her way towards the kitchen. And Tajay did her hand in a motion that she waved them side to side, and then she put her hand to her mouth like to be quiet, don't say nothing. And she pointed at the back door. Her grandmother turned around and went back in her room. Tajay just sat there. This thing still growling. This thing still turning the doorknob. But she's scared. She don't want to move. She don't want to make a sound. That's when she could hear this creature starts to walk. And then it stopped. And then she just hear the next sound, boom, as it hit the ground. That's when Tajay eases up off the floor. She pulls the curtain to the side. And she see this creature just standing there. But it's facing the wood line. She said that's when this thing went down on all fours and it shot. It shot over and went back up into the tree line. Tajay went outside no more that day. She stayed in the house. She said after she ate dinner, she went in her room to lay down. She went in her room to lay down and think. And she said while she was in her room, boom, she gets that feeling. She gets that feeling, so she jumps up out of the bed and she looks out her window. And when she looks out her window, she looks over at the path where these creatures used to come down at. And she see the two black ones just breaking the tree line. And they coming out. Now mind you, she said they on all fours. So they coming across the backyard. And they sniffing. She said they walking, but they sniffing. It's like they sniffing, she said. She said when they get about 15 feet, she said she not good with distance, but she said they had to be about 10 or 15 feet from a window. They stopped. They looked towards her window, and then they both turned around, and they just stood there. She said she don't know why these creatures did that though, but they stood there and didn't move. Tajay said she stood at that window for an hour, and they were still there. That's when she was getting tired, and she said she was gonna lay down to go to sleep. So she said she stayed up for a few, then she finally dozed off. She said she get up the next morning, she go to the window, but she don't see nothing. She goes and do what she always do, get herself together, her and her grandmother sit down and eat. She tells her grandma, she said, Grandma, I seen the two black ones last night, and they was just standing, on all fours outside my window. She said, I watched them for about an hour. She said, but then I was getting tired, so I laid down and I fell asleep. But when I woke up this morning, they was gone. Grandmother said, well, maybe they was watching you, watching the house. She said, maybe, but I don't know. Anyway, they talked some more. Grandmother said, we gotta go in town and, grab some stuff. So that's what they do. Get themselves together, they goes in town, and grab some stuff. She said they was in this one store when they seen the guys that used to come out on their property. They see them and they approached them. And they said, hello, how you doing? And, Tajay and her grandmother spoke. That's when they said, have you ever, give it some thought and let us come out there and so we can search for these things? And they said, what are you talking about? What things? What? It's no things out there. They said, there y'all go again. Y'all still trying to cover up that these things is not living on your property. And the grandmother said, they not. I don't know what you talking about. So they went back and forth. They said, okay, never mind. Have a good day. So Tajay and her grandmother, finished doing what they doing and they headed home. She said, but as they going home, they noticed these guys following them. But they don't follow them all the way home. They pulls off on a different part of the road and goes down another way. Grandmother and them get home, they take the stuff out and they goes in the house. Put the stuff in the house. Tajay helps her grandma put everything away and she goes out back. She said when she goes out back, she smells this awful smell. She said it smelled like urine and it just smelled like metallic blood and just meat, raw meat. She said it was just a foul odor out there. Like something just urinated and it just rubbed it meat raw meat all over the place. So Ty went in and she got the hose and, she washed the whole deck down and stuff like that because she said the smell was just unbearable. So she said after she did that, she said the guy that usually come over there and, they search and try to help them out for these creatures came over. And they came in and they was talking to her again. He said, we want to have another look on the property and see if we can find these two creatures that y'all talking about. So they agreed. So they goes out back. They go to the same side that they always go on, where this gray one and brown one often is seen. So they goes down there, guns in hands. And he said they walking and they looking. They don't see nothing, but they can see that branches being broke from high up, not low, but high up. They could smell urine. They could smell foul, rotten meat odor and stuff like that, but they don't see anything. So they walk. They keep walking. They said they walked it further than what they usually did. And they said they walked it so far, they came to this dry creek. It was a dry creek bed. And they just stopped right there and they looked. And they canvassed the whole area. So they had binoculars, so they canvassed the whole area. And the one guy said while he was canvassing, looking around, something catches his eye at this tree. And he looked, he said, holy shit. He said, I see one of these things. And when he said that, he said that thing just took off. It just bolted to the left. He said all you heard was crack, crack, boom, boom. Said this thing was just knocking every dang thing down in its way. He said, and he noticed that this thing was brown in color. He said, so what they did is they crossed over that dry creek bed and they walked in that direction. He said they walked it about 50 yards and they stopped. Basically trying to follow the trail of this creature that ran. They could see the direction that it ran in, but they said it left like no evidence, no footprints, no nothing. So they stopped and they turned back around and they headed back. When they get back to the house, they tell the grandmother and Ty J everything. They say we walked it further than what we did today. And when we came to this dry creek bed that we never seen before because we never walked it that far, looking through the binoculars, we see this brown one. And they said this thing just took off. It just bolted to the left. He said we followed this trail that it went on for about 50 yards. But they said we couldn't even find a footprint. We couldn't find no evidence, no nothing. He said, so we decided to turn around and come back. So they sat down and they talked some more. They said, these things are smart. These things are intelligent. So they said, we're going to stay here overnight. So that's what they do. They stay there overnight. But what they do, they sit in the house and they crack the window, the curtains of the window, so they can see out. But all the lights is out. All the lights is out. So they sitting there and they watching. They said at about 11:30, 12 o'clock, that's when they started to get some action. They said that's when they could see eyes shine in the tree line. And they watching. 2 sets. Not 1, but 2. They watching this eye shine. And it's coming from the left. The same side that this gray one and brown one have been seen. The same side that they went down earlier that day, plus other days. So they see these eyes shine. 2 sets of them. And they see it walks over to where that path at. And they see these things come out, standing upright bipedal. He said they came out and stood in the backyard. They just stood up. He said it's like they were sniffing the air. He said, now mind you, say the moon out so they could see these creatures clearly. They could see silhouette of these things. So one guy get up. He goes to the back door, pulls the little curtain back, and he looks out. And he watching it. Other guy in the other room watching them from that window. Now mind you, no lights on in the house. So these creatures can't see what's in. Not just yet. He said that's when they begin to start to walk across the property. And as they walking, one bears off to the right. Like on an angle though. And then the other one is still walking. Like it's coming towards that back porch in Tajay's window. But that's when that one stopped. It stopped. And he said he can clearly see this thing start to sniff. He said that's when it started to growl. That's when the other one stopped too. And it looked over at the back door. And when it looked over at the back door, that one began to growl. Now they can hear both of these creatures. They just standing there. They said then the growling stopped. He said that's when he began to unlock the back door. And trying not to make a lot of noise. He turns the knob. He started to open the door. But you know how doors make that noise, he said. And he stopped. He said when he did that, he said he could see. He could see this thing is fletch on his head. So he didn't pull on the door no more. That's when this thing started to growl again. His partner in the other room comes in there with him. And he tells him, he say, look, I'm going to hurry up. We're going to sling this door open. Take the one on the left. I'm going to take the one on the right. We just going to start shooting. So he said, look at the window and make sure that they still there. So he does that. He looks out that little window to make sure that these two creatures are still posted in the same spot that they was. And he said, yeah, they still there. So he said on the count of 3, I'm pulling it open. 1, 2, 3. He said he counted down, slung the door open. His partner go to the left, he goes to the right. And when they open the door, he say these creatures just look. Say they both went to turn. He said that's when they start licking off. Blip, 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 blip. He said that's when they just let it go and did what they had to do. Now I'm gonna stop there and upload this and get y'all ready for the next encounter.